Cartier love bracelet is so entrenched in luxury fashion. It's a no-brainer. You go, I want to buy myself a lovely little fine jewellery treat. What should I get? I want something that stands the test of time, that I know is tried and true. It's a Cartier love bracelet. Two solid gold semicircles that are screwed together by somebody that you love to symbolise the permanence of love and locking it around your wrist. It is well and truly an icon, and whilst in 2024 we might be able to sit here and go, I see too many of these about, it is definitely still very much a legendary piece of jewellery. Since its birth in 1969, this piece of jewellery has transcended generations. It's transcended trends. But the question is, can anybody compete? And specifically, can Tiffany & Co. give the Cartier love bracelet a good run for its money? That's what we're going to be discussing in today's video. Guys, if you are new here, my name is Cassie and I'm a self-diagnosed luxury addict. I put out videos on Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays, so if you like luxury fashion, then you're probably going to love it here. So head on there, subscribe, turn on the bell, become a member of our luxury addicted family. When are we going to rehab? Never. Also, just to shout out that, okay, I was stung by a wasp. It has swollen up. So I have taken off all of my jewellery on this hand. I feel very naked. It's not as bad as it was yesterday. Yesterday, it was the whale hand, but we're getting somewhere. So that's why this isn't giving the usual razz and dazz that I like to give. Okay, so we're going to start off by focusing sort of on the love bracelet itself and then on the brands in general as well and how that plays into everything. So according to Bernstein's luxury analyst Luca Solka, if you are a luxury fine jewellery brand, bracelets are a really good thing. Like having an icon bracelet is like having a cash cow. The average value of the piece is higher and there's less competition than rings, necklaces, those other categories of jewellery. If executed right, which Cartier has done with the love bracelet, it's also done with like the Juste Clou, I would definitely say. This is something that is, it's a cash cow for years and years and years and potentially generations and decades to come. You do it once, you do it right, you build out the collection, and it is a go-to over and over again. Especially when jewellery tends to be a much more considered purchase, okay? There tends to be less compared to a bag, a shoe, or a piece of clothing of the just because, and more it's a milestone. I got a promotion at work, I've had a child, the child is graduating, whatever it is, right? It tends to be a bit more of a milestone purchase. And jewellery is seen to be an investment in the future of the piece compared to trendy, like I'm saying, bags, shoes, clothes. So that's why as well, it's hard to create an icon because you have to build that trust that comes with dropping $7,000 on a piece that you know is going to last and you're going to love it and it's not too trendy. So let's talk about price. The Cartier love bracelet starts at, this is not including, this is like the standard love bracelet, okay, so that like standard thickness. So that starts at $7,350. That's across all of the, if you want it in white gold, it's slightly more expensive, right? But that is solid gold, that's no diamonds. In 2021, Tiffany launched the Tiffany knot bracelet. This is the one that looks like a little piece of barbed wire. And it's quite cool, but I really don't think it landed. Like, this isn't a piece that you see talked about often or that even seems to really be pushed by Tiffany. Fair enough, it's been 3 years, they've got other things to focus on. But if you're talking about an icon, it's something that should be a part of the constant conversation. Then in 2022, they launched the piece that has the most chance of competing with the Cartier love bracelet, and that is the Tiffany knot bracelet. This is, it's sort of on a swivel. So you pull out, it's an oval. Is it an oval? What is that? It's sort of an oval. You sort of pull it apart, twist it open, and again, solid gold. They do variations with diamonds across all of the different golds, all of that. And that is $50 cheaper. That starts at $7,300. I'm just going to be dealing in dollars at the moment because it's easier. While we're having this conversation, I think it's important that we include Bulgari, not to be forgotten, an excellent jewellery brand, one of my personal favorites. Look, I like all of the brands that I'm talking about today, but I do like Bulgari. It's a little bit different in terms of style to the Love and the Lock, but there was the always overlooked B01 range. Like, this has been around for years, and I really feel like it never got the hype and the popularity that it deserved. It's a really great range. In 2022, Bulgari launched the Viper range, and to be honest with you, it left the B01 in the dust. It's been outselling the B01 range since it was introduced, and it's fab, okay? It's a lovely scaly little snake wrapped around your wrist. It's got sass, it's got a bit of, you know, a bit of pizzazz about it, and it's a little bit different, but again, it's within that bangle range, comes in all of your golds, different sort of amounts of diamonds are available. Now that is a bit cheaper than the other two I'm talking about. That starts at $6,600. They've also recently launched the Turbogas. Is that how you pronounce it? The Turbogas collection, which looks almost like a watch strap. It looks like they're normal sort of watch straps, but it's like one piece. That's got a higher price point. That's $8,800. So I don't know, I found that interesting. It's a new launch. Let's keep our eyes out. But we also can't talk about luxury fine jewellery and popular pieces of luxury fine jewellery without touching on the Van Cleef Alhambra bracelet. I did a whole video sort of going into depth about this. I will have that linked below if you haven't seen it. It's recently overtaken the Cartier Love bracelet in terms of popularity according to Google searches. However, I think that the Cartier Love bracelet has a little bit more, not longevity, because it's not a trendy piece, but I think that the Cartier Love bracelet has been more a part of that conversation of a classic luxury, tried and true piece of fine jewellery. We've spoken about that more than the Van Cleef Alhambra. Its popularity has been like longer lasting, right? And it's also the main competitor to Tiffany, which is the crux of what we're talking about today. I do also want to briefly touch on the Tiffany T bangle. Again, this one was one that was sort of seen to be quite a decent competitor. If you look at sort of pricing, $7,500, you know, it's in that bracket for the T1. There's a lot of sort of different options within this, so I'm not sure. I would probably say the T1 is the strongest, like, quote-unquote like for like to the Cartier Love. Again, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, is this an iconic piece sort of thing? I know that they sort of tried for it to be, but again, like, I always think that something that shows brands' priorities is sort of where it features on this list of like what they're trying to push, and you're seeing featured collections and Tiffany Lock is top, you know. So I don't know, I wonder if this has sort of like fallen by the wayside a little bit, and the focus really is on the Tiffany Lock to be that iconic bangle. Now, in case you refuse to believe that this is in fact a little bit of a competition going on there, in 2021 Tiffany hired Natalie Verdiel, fabulous last name either way. She was hired by Tiffany as Chief Artistic Officer. Before that, she was at Cartier for 16 years as, what was the official title? Director of Jewellery Creation, where she expanded the Cartier Love range and introduced the Cartier Clash. You know, it's like the ones with sort of studs and spikies all over it. So I found that very interesting. I'm like, oh my gosh, of everybody in the luxury fine jewellery industry, that's an interesting little move, shall we say. Now, part of the success of the Love range has also been the expansion of it. So yes, you can go straight in for the big dog. You know, the Love bracelet. You also have earrings, you have pendant versions, you have a slimmer bracelet that they came out with that's cheaper, you have the standard Love ring, you have the wedding Love ring, which is a bit narrower than the usual one. You know, there's different options in there at different sort of price points, so you can still get that buy-in to an iconic range at different points. Make no mistake, the Lock bracelet has also done something similar. Again, there's pendants, there's rings. I also know that they redesigned the ring. I think initially it was launched and it had one design, and because of like user feedback and customer feedback, they tweaked it a little bit so it's a bit more comfortable. They do like double finger rings, again, earrings, pendants, which is also what you would expect at a brand this big. And although the brands aren't quite comparable, okay, they both have a high jewellery offering, they both have a small selection of leather goods, they also have sunglasses in case that's something you'd be interested in. They both also have a watch range. One of these has a much more popular and highly regarded watch range than the other, right? The Cartier Panthère, Santos, Tank, all of that business, right? Conversely, Tiffany has a silver offering that Cartier will never have. So when I was sort of thinking about this, I was like, is there a world in which, going back to the love bracelets in particular as an item, that they can compete? Not right now. Okay, and this is no shade to Tiffany. I love Tiffany, but these things take time. And what is part of the beauty and what has led to the longevity of the Cartier love bracelet being so highly regarded is that it is entrenched in generations. It's, you know, parents buying it for kids. It's been worn by celebrities across the age range for years, you know? And again, when it's a considered purchase, you almost need that like validation of time to lock it into like icon status, right? I don't know if, I think I'm making sense. Stick with me. Try not to look at the hand. It needs time to be instantly recognizable, you know? The Cartier love bracelet doesn't say Cartier all over it, but everybody knows when you look at the screws, right? I don't know if the Tiffany lock bracelet is at the point when somebody sees it, they know it's Tiffany. And again, these are things that take time. Is it going to take as much time as it did back in 1969? I don't think so. We have social media and all of that speeds things up a bit. But I don't think it's at a point where widely it's regarded to be like a option to consider if you're considering, you know, like a love bracelet or whatever. It definitely is for some people, and I feel like it's on its way. I don't think it's there quite yet. I subscribe to Lauren Sherman's fashion newsletter as part of Puck, and she did a whole breakdown on like Tiffany versus Cartier and more into the nitty-gritty of the business. But one of the things she said at the end was, the challenge to me is what makes Tiffany special is not the gold or high jewellery, it's the humble silver. And I have been harping on this for the last at least year. I think that although it's seen to be lesser than solid gold and diamonds and things like this, Tiffany has something really, really special on its hands with its silver offering, especially when you have collections like Elsa Peretti's and all of that, which because of time has entrenched itself once again as like a legendary piece, the bone cuff, come on. And I'm not saying that they don't focus on it, but I feel like they could make their silver offering come up a tier. As in, you almost have like, okay, your return to Tiffany stuff, which is seen to be a bit more like entry level, right? I'm just using terms that people use. It's sort of seen in that respect. And I think that there is a gap then between something like that. I think Elsa Peretti's and her sort of silver offerings semi-fill this gap, but they could do more, especially with like more newer collections. There's that, and then all of a sudden there's your gold, your silver, your diamonds. And I feel that they could do something in almost like scaling up or doing something with the silver that feels more than that return to Tiffany range, that feels a little bit more luxe, that bridges that gap a bit more. And whilst, yes, I do think having like an icon piece is a great thing for a brand, obviously, as we have seen with the love bracelet. So I'm not saying that they like shouldn't have done the lock, but I do wish that they would focus on the silver a little bit more. They're such different brands that they shouldn't be out here going like head to head, because there's no point. Like I said, both brands are comparable in some ways, but also really different in other ways. And both are very much iconic in their own ways. I feel like, once again, I feel like this year, my thoughts for a lot of brands has been stay in your own lane. I don't know, I feel like I'm slightly getting off tangent with Tiffany because I just really want them to bulk up their silver offering, but I think it has legs. I think it has legs to compete, but it's not going to happen overnight, and it's not going to be... Is the Tiffany customer the same as the Cartier customer? I feel like they overlap, but I feel like Tiffany attracts a little bit more of like possibly a younger / somebody a little bit more interested in trends, right? They do the collaborations with Fendi, and who else did they do? Is that it in recent years? Pokemon and Daniel Arsham, right? Again, I don't think the sort of person that's been buying Tiffany since the 50s is that bothered about a Pokemon collaboration, you know? So you can see them doing this, and Cartier doesn't market themselves in the same way at all. So whilst I think it's a good idea that they do sort of have a little bit more of like an icon bracelet or whatever, I don't know if it's ever going to be directly in the running, because the customer's different. Anyway, there we go. Let me know what your thoughts are. I didn't really come to a conclusion, but I just thought let's throw it out there to discuss. I'm going to leave a link to another video over here in case you haven't already seen it. Have an amazing morning, afternoon or evening, wherever you are, and in the words of my father...
If you've enjoyed it, tell your friends. If you haven't, keep your mouth shut.
I'll see you in my next video. Mwah. Bye, guys.